At a time when horror movies were trying to outdo one another with extreme gore, one film chose a completely different path. Alejandro Amenabar created a ghost story that relied on quiet tension, shadow, and psychological unease instead of graphic violence. The strength of the film came from what it chose not to show rather than what it displayed. Its powerful twist reshaped every earlier moment in the story. Nicole Kidman delivered one of the most chilling performances of her career, drawing on fear that began even before production started. Behind the camera, the filmmaking process encountered surprising obstacles, including communication difficulties and unsettling events on set that seemed to blur fiction with reality. The following insights explore how this modern classic came together, beginning with a daring creative choice that went against horror trends of the time. First, a horror film without blood. Choosing to remove gore entirely was not only rare in 2001, it was nearly unheard of for mainstream horror. Amenabar intentionally removed the usual genre staples. There were no on-screen violent deaths, no graphic visuals, and not a single drop of blood visible. This discipline meant suspense had to grow purely through mood and atmosphere. Every creaking floorboard, each candle flicker, and every unexplained noise carried significance because nothing flashy distracted the viewer. Without visual shock tactics, the psychological tension became even stronger. Some critics doubted whether audiences would embrace such subtle storytelling, yet the risk proved successful. The movie demonstrated that true fear depends on craft and patience rather than spectacle, giving it a timeless quality instead of tying it to passing trends. Second, Kidman's nightmares during production. When Nicole Kidman first read the script, she was profoundly unsettled. Discovering that Grace had killed her children and then herself affected her so deeply that she began having disturbing dreams. She even considered leaving the project, unsure if she could portray a mother capable of such tragedy. Amenabar recognized her emotional struggle and worked closely with her to reinterpret the character. Rather than seeing Grace as monstrous, he encouraged viewing her as someone shattered by wartime trauma, religious fear, and crushing isolation. Embracing Grace's fragility allowed Kidman to transform her anxiety into a powerful performance. Although the nightmares continued, they became part of her artistic process. The emotional strain appeared authentically on screen, making Grace's breakdown feel real in a way technique alone could not achieve. Kidman later described the role as one of the most emotionally taxing she had ever undertaken. Third, the ending was completely reworked. Initial screenplay drafts revealed the truth in a straightforward way, explaining the twist through direct dialogue. While early readers found it clear, it lacked emotional depth. Amenabar wanted something more poignant, so he spent months reshaping the conclusion into a quieter, more sorrowful revelation. In the revised version, the truth unfolds during the séance scene, with Grace realizing her fate alongside the audience. This structural change elevated the twist into a heartbreaking realization that reframed her protectiveness and the children's fear. The refined ending transformed the story from clever to deeply haunting. Fourth, the director faced a language barrier. Directing an English-language film was challenging for Amenabar, whose English was limited at the time. Translators assisted early on, but during filming communication often relied on nonverbal methods. He demonstrated scenes physically, performed emotional beats himself, and emphasized rehearsals where gestures conveyed meaning. This constraint unexpectedly enhanced the production, encouraging a visual storytelling style that intensified the film's eerie mood and pushed actors toward expressive physical performances. Fifth, although set in the Channel Islands, The Others was filmed entirely in Spain rather than the United Kingdom. Production took place in northern Spain at the Palacio de los Hornos in Cantabria. Budget considerations and climate influenced the decision, and the estate was carefully redesigned to resemble a British manor. Designers studied period architecture, imported fabrics, and modified interiors to maintain authenticity. The region's naturally overcast skies enhanced the film's gloomy aesthetic, and the isolation of the location echoed Grace's emotional seclusion. Sixth, the children's light sensitivity was inspired by a genuine medical condition, xeroderma pigmentosum, which makes sunlight dangerous. Grounding this detail in reality added credibility and justified the dim lighting and heavy clothing seen throughout the film. It also cleverly masked the deeper supernatural truth by making the constant darkness seem practical. Seventh, the filming location developed a reputation for strange happenings. Crew members reported unexplained sounds, flickering lights, and eerie sensations, while some technicians captured mysterious noises during recording. Though Amenabar attributed these experiences to natural causes and imagination, the unsettling atmosphere influenced the mood of the production. Eighth, Fionnuala Flanagan helped shape the character of Mrs. Mills through collaboration. She suggested subtle adjustments in movement and speech, emphasizing stillness and calm deliberation. Her restrained portrayal balanced warmth with quiet mystery, making the character unforgettable. Ninth, Christopher Eccleston had limited availability, requiring his scenes to be filmed quickly. This constraint unexpectedly enhanced his character's fleeting and dreamlike presence, reinforcing the film's themes of uncertainty and loss. 10th, the surrounding fog was entirely artificial, created with machines to maintain consistent coverage. Beyond atmosphere, it symbolized confusion and denial, mirroring the family's inability to see the truth. 11th, the seance scene drew heavily from documented Victorian spiritualist practices. Amenabar studied historical accounts to ensure authenticity in posture, language, and ritual detail, lending the sequence a powerful sense of realism. 12th, Kidman prepared by studying 1940s actresses such as Deborah Kerr and Celia Johnson. She adopted their precise diction, reserved gestures, and controlled posture to fully embody the era, creating a subtle, almost otherworldly presence. Finally, early drafts nearly revealed the servants' ghostly identities much sooner. However, test readings showed that disclosing this information too early reduced suspense, so the structure was adjusted to preserve tension and mystery throughout the story. The early explanation weakened the film's carefully built sense of uncertainty. Alejandro Amenabar insisted on postponing the revelation until the final act, reorganizing the entire script around one crushing moment of realization. This adjustment required rewriting numerous scenes to embed subtler clues without clear confirmation. The new structure kept viewers guessing from start to finish, turning the servants into an eerie presence that resisted simple definition. Number 14. Grace's curtain walk scene. The unforgettable shot of Grace moving through flowing curtains demanded exact technical precision to achieve its haunting quality. The crew positioned fans at carefully measured angles to create the fabric's ghost-like motion. Lighting specialists spent hours refining shadows so they shifted across the material in ways that felt natural yet slightly unnatural. Several takes were needed to capture the precise movement Amenabar imagined. Excess airflow caused dramatic flapping rather than mysterious drifting, while too little left the curtains lifeless. Achieving the right balance consumed an entire afternoon. Beyond visual appeal, the moment carried symbolic meaning. Grace passes through barriers that should remain solid, visually reflecting her movement toward painful truths. It signals a turning point where she can no longer cling to illusions shielding her from reality. Number 15. Guiding the child actors carefully. Amenabar intentionally chose not to reveal the story's full ending to the young performers. Alekina Mann and James Bentley understood their characters felt frightened and isolated, but they were unaware of the deeper reason behind that fear. The director shaped their performances through tone and atmosphere instead of complete explanations. This preserved authentic reactions throughout production. Their confusion and anxiety on screen felt genuine because they experienced similar emotions while filming. Amenabar communicated emotionally rather than analytically, allowing the children to respond naturally. This method proved especially powerful in the finale. When the truth surfaces, their reactions carry sincere impact because the actors encountered a comparable revelation. Their performances feel unfiltered and real, capturing emotion adults might otherwise calculate. By shielding them from full knowledge, Amenabar preserved an innocence that made the ending more devastating. Number 16. Scenes illuminated only by candles. Many interior sequences depended almost entirely on real candlelight, producing soft, shifting shadows across walls and faces. This choice created serious technical hurdles. Traditional film stock demanded more brightness than candles could naturally provide. Cinematographer Javier Aguirre developed specialized solutions to capture usable footage in such dim conditions. Faster film stocks, wider apertures, and extended exposure times compensated for the low light. Performers needed to stay remarkably still during takes to prevent motion blur, adding a subtle rigidity that enhanced the eerie mood. The candlelight delivered authenticity artificial lighting could not duplicate. Flames flickered unpredictably, shadows moved organically, and the warm glow contrasted with the film's emotional chill. The technique gave the imagery a truly period texture rather than a staged effect. Number 17. Whisper-based sound techniques. The audio team layered nearly inaudible whispers, footsteps, and breathing beneath the conscious hearing level. These sounds were not meant to be clearly detected, but to generate subconscious discomfort. Human perception registers such cues even without conscious recognition. Sound designer Carlos Ferruolo experimented extensively with frequency and volume to reach the precise threshold where tension increased without obvious awareness. Whispers were placed in stereo channels to seem as if they moved around the theater space, suggesting unseen presences. The result heightened unease without overt manipulation. Viewers often reported feeling observed without understanding why. These subtle cues sustained anxiety and guided emotional response throughout the film. Number 18. Atmosphere instead of jump scares. The film avoids conventional jump scares, rejecting sudden loud bursts and rapid cuts common in horror at the time. Amenabar believed shock tactics offered brief excitement, but weakened lasting dread. Instead, he built tension gradually through atmosphere. This required confidence that audiences would embrace deliberate pacing and ambiguous threats. Every sequence increases discomfort through framing, sound, and performance rather than abrupt surprises. Fear grows from anticipation and uncertainty. The method gave the film psychological maturity, creating lingering unease that extended beyond individual scenes. By prioritizing atmosphere, Amenabar crafted horror that respected viewers' intelligence and delivered deeper emotional resonance. Number 19. A milestone for Spanish filmmaking. The Others became one of the most commercially successful Spanish-backed productions ever, earning over $200 million worldwide against a $17 million budget. Its triumph demonstrated that Spanish companies could finance English-language projects capable of global competition. The achievement strengthened confidence within Spain's industry. It elevated Amenabar's reputation internationally, attracting attention from major studios. Beyond personal success, the film encouraged broader European investment in international co-productions and highlighted Spain's meaningful role in global cinema. Number 20. The estate's real history. The Palacio de los Hornos possessed its own layered past, contributing to the film's atmosphere. Over decades, it functioned as a private home, temporary military site, and later endured abandonment. Natural decay required little modification to appear convincingly haunted. Designers embraced existing cracks, stains, and weathered textures rather than disguising them. The building's authentic age reinforced the 1945 setting. Cast and crew felt the tangible history within its walls, strengthening the psychological connection between fiction and reality. Number 21. Kidman's most emotional sequence. Nicole Kidman reached deep vulnerability during the photo album scene. Amenabar isolated her beforehand, encouraging emotional intensity. Drawing inspiration from real Victorian post-mortem photography, he shared historical references to ground her reaction in authenticity. The moment represents Grace's emotional collapse. Kidman delivered raw devastation, fueled by exhaustion rather than technique, creating one of the film's most powerful scenes. Number 22. Alternate reveal performances. The séance climax was filmed multiple times with varying emotional tones, from anger to confusion. After reviewing each version, Amenabar selected the quietest and most sorrowful take. He favored tragedy over confrontation, ensuring the ending felt heartbreaking rather than dramatic. The chosen performance preserved the film's reflective tone. Number 23. Fewer ghosts for stronger impact. Early drafts included additional spirits connected to the manor's past. Amenabar ultimately removed them, recognizing that extra supernatural elements diluted the central tragedy. Focusing solely on Grace, her children, and the servants maintained intimacy and emotional concentration. The restraint strengthened the narrative's personal devastation. Number 24. Music composed before filming. Amenabar wrote key musical themes months before production. As both director and composer, he allowed music to shape pacing and mood from the beginning. During filming, themes were played on set to guide performances and visual rhythm. Editing later aligned closely with musical phrasing, creating cohesion between image and sound. Number 25. An unexpected box office rise. The film did not dominate its opening weekend. Instead, it built steady momentum through strong word of mouth and critical acclaim. Its eventual $200 million global total surprised executives who expected modest returns for a slow, atmospheric horror film. The success confirmed that audiences value intelligent, restrained storytelling. Decades later, the film remains a benchmark for sophisticated supernatural cinema, proving that fear thrives in patience, subtlety, and the unseen.